Welcome to my channel, Sella Buzz. Clint Eastwood has at last disclosed a secret he had guarded for decades, a startling discovery admirers, and gave it a surprising twist, his renowned life narrative. But what? What connection does this long-guarded truth have? Us as we investigate the unexpected tale most closely behind Clint Eastwood's kept their early lives private and modest starting points. The date of Clint Eastwood's birth was May 31, 1930 in California's San Francisco during his full name is Great Depression. Clinton Eastwood, Jr., was raised in a period when a large number of American families were battling to provide for his father. Senior Clinton Eastwood was employed at several occupations, such as that of a steel worker, and his mother, a petrol station attendant. A factory clerk was Ruth Eastwood's job. Due to the challenging economic climate, the family frequently moved about and lived in several towns throughout California when he was a kid. Clint was calm, self-sufficient, and lacked a keen interest in learning, and his grades were mediocre, and he attended several schools. Because of his family's often relocations, despite his distaste for Clint, an academic was tall and powerful. Involvement at an early age, by the time he was over 6 feet tall when he was a teenager. People frequently took notice of him due to his height and a composed, solemn expression. When Clint began to express interest in school, he played the piano in both music and mechanical things he would keep doing. During his lifetime, he also delighted in repairing vehicles and using his hands. These passions didn't indicate with regard to performing, but they demonstrated that Clint enjoyed artistic endeavors and was prepared to acquire fresh knowledge upon graduation. Clint from Oakland Technical High School, worked a number of part-time jobs to help, was a lifeguard himself. According to a report, work as a forest firefighter, and even while a golf caddy was not one of these jobs. Glitzy, but they made him alive. Experience and instilled discipline in him. Had no intention of becoming an actress he wasn't even considering time performing, and Clint was drafted into the United States Army in 1951. He was stationed in Korea throughout the conflict. However, in Fort Ord in California, he didn't witness any fighting this time, and the military gained significance in his life was where he met individuals at Fort Ord, associated with the motion picture industry. He was urged to take a screen by them test in Hollywood upon the discovery of his powerful look and camera-friendly face following their release from the Army. Clint heeded the counsel and began auditioning for parts in Hollywood's early years were sluggish, and he may have taken acting classes and initially played a few minor roles. His appearance was the main reason he was cast. He agreed to a deal with Universal. Mid-1950s studios, but it didn't result in immediate fame. In fact, his roles were so small that they didn't even make an appearance in the credits. Clint didn't quit. He continued to put in a lot of effort, and he spent time honing his acting skills. Almost 10 years of playing minor roles in television series and films, he was tenacious and patient, gradually enhancing his abilities and standing in he was unaware of the entertainment industry. But the significant shift that would occur. His next step in life was just around the corner. We'll examine Clint Eastwood's ascent from small pieces to become among the greatest well-known faces in Hollywood. The ascent of Eastwood in Hollywood. It took time for Clint Eastwood to become well-known. However, things began to shift in the late 1950s, following years of employment. Clint received his first tiny film jobs. Major breakthrough with a TV show known as Rawhide. The program debuted in 1959 and gained popularity with American viewers. Clint portrayed a young cowboy named Rowdy Yates. Driving livestock across the initially American West. Wasn't the principal actor. But as the performance progressed, his role expanded, and he emerged as one of Rawhide, the major star. Ran for 8 seasons, assisting Clint in becoming well-known, which provided him with consistent work and enabled him to develop his acting abilities, but the show made him not well-liked in the U.S. Until a few years later, he would become a global. During the mid-1960s, Clint's fame took a gamble on a novel type of cinema. To star in a low-budget film in Europe. Italian director's Western Sergio Leone, and the film was a handful of money, and it brought in a modern cowboy who is quiet, fierce, and this figure would turn into a mystery. Referred to as the man without a name in the movie, was distinct from conventional westerns. It had a distinctive sound, powerful music, and more activity, and A Fistful of Cash was followed by a couple more flicks, dollars more, as well as the positive, negative, and these three films collectively are the ugly. They became known as the Dollars Trilogy. Clint Eastwood's massive international hits was already a worldwide celebrity. His reputation as a powerful, silent hero had completely developed. He became well known not just in the United States, but globally by the Clint wanted to achieve more in the 1970s than only pretend that he desired to be in charge of the kind of tales he shared in 1971 directed play Misty, his debut film. For me, it was a radio DJ thriller. Person is targeted by a harmful fan. The movie earned positive reviews, and it demonstrated Clint's ability behind the not only in front of it, but also over the Clint kept acting for the next few decades. However, he also concentrated more on leading, began producing deeper films, and more intimately in 1992. He oversaw and played the lead in The Dark and a Western that took home 4 Academy Awards prizes such as Best Image and Best. This was a pivotal moment. Director. Demonstrated that Clint wasn't merely a film. Star who took his work as a filmmaker seriously, kept receiving recognition with subsequent films, such as $1 Million Mystic River, Gran Torino, and Baby, both worth millions of dollars also. Received multiple Oscars, including Clint received another prize for Best Director. These films addressed themes in actual life and mental difficulties, and they provided assistance. Established himself as one of the greatest Hollywood filmmaker. Clint Eastwood became one of the most popular TV cowboys, renowned personalities in the history of film, Hollywood legend status. Clint didn't simply turn into. He became a successful filmmaker and actor. Over the years, he has become a true Hollywood icon, developed a distinct persona that viewers learnt about and admired. Clint on television frequently portrayed tough, reserved people who didn't say anything, but completed the task, became well known for his powerful, quiet approach, and that picture stayed with him all the way through. Whether he worked as a cowboy in the Wild West, or a tough police officer like among Dirty Harry, Clint's characters, due to their composed assurance and feeling of justice, this harsh, and Clint's independent mentality made him distinct from other performers of his era. He wasn't dependent on lengthy lectures or displays of feeling. Instead, he employed his presence, gestures, and behaviors to make strong personas that appealed to fans, admired this look, and regarded him as someone who embodied courage, honor, and Clint's perseverance made his career last longer. Over 60 years, and he was given numerous accolades and distinctions. Received as an actor and director, he received many Best Director as one of the Academy Awards, and the top film for 1993's Unforgiven for $1 Million Baby, once more. Additionally, in 2005, he was given the Irving G. The Thalberg Award, is presented to producers whose output has a high consistency and quality. In addition to, Clint has received recognition at the Oscars, with the AFI Life Achievement Golden Globes recognition, including a French Legion of Honor. One factor that makes Clint Eastwood so an intriguing figure results from the inconsistencies in his public and politically. Clint's personal life has stated that he was a conservative, and he is a libertarian who has addressed politics occasions, such as the 2012 Republican National Convention, although a lot of his movies convey messages that are more, for instance, progressive or open-minded. $1 Million Baby addresses a variety of such as assisted death and disability. Torino emphasizes racial and cultural. Iweema's Changing Letters reveal a world Japanese perspective on the Second World War. These decisions demonstrate that Clint is not constrained by a single belief system when it comes to narrative. Clint Eastwood has evolved beyond being a movie star. He represents a certain type of the American spirit, is modest, resolute, and constantly moving forward. Therefore, let's examine Clint's interactions with his marriages and the household he established, some of it in the public domain, and some people retained concealed for many years. Well-known marriages and romances. The private life of Clint Eastwood has been as complicated and dramatic as his career over the years that he has participated in a lot of romantic partnerships, some enduring for decades and beyond. Despite having 2 marriages, short-lived, Clint frequently shunned getting married in the He wanted to maintain his traditional sense, keeping his personal life out of the public eye. However, over time, numerous information regarding his relationships are now considered public relations issues. First public and meaningful relationship was in 1953 that they first met Maggie Johnson on a blind date and subsequently married. Clint was in the same year. As still a struggling performer in search of Maggie, his position in Hollywood was encouraging, and the couple remained wed for over 3 decades. But marriage was not at all ideal while Clint was involved during their time together. A number of affairs, some of which resulted in offspring not related to their marriage. Nevertheless, Clint and Maggie stayed legally wed until 1984. Despite the fact that they had been alive apart for a long time prior to their one of Clint's divorces was finalized. Famous long-term relationships throughout his rocks in Tunis, was married to Maggie. The relationship between an actress and a dancer lasted for more than 10 years, and in 1964, they had a daughter at the time named Kimber. The presence of Kimber was not well known. Clint did not admit to the publisher in public as his child, until many years following his separation from Clint. Maggie Johnson had a few more sincere partnerships, among the most was with Sandra Lockett, an actress. They met while filming in the middle of the 1970s, Josie Wales, The Outlaw, and swiftly formed a relationship and became a couple. Lasted for almost 14 years, and they survived, but they spent the majority of that time together. Despite never getting married, they were viewed as one of the most well-known couples in Hollywood still. There were many ups and downs throughout the relationship. Downs and had a terrible ending with a legal conflict that involved lawsuits regarding property and unfulfilled pledges of career prospects for Locke and Clint entered another relationship in the 1990s, enduring partnership this time with Frances Pfizer, an actress whom they met while starring after filming Pink Cadillac together. They starred in 1993's Unforgiven. Francesca, a daughter, like many of this one of Clint's relationships, ultimately came to an end, but they stayed on solid relations as Clint's second co-parent. His marriage took place in 1996. Television news anchor Dana Ruishim, when Dina conducted a news interview with him, early 1990s portion. There the relationship was more widely known than most of Clint's past relationships. They shared a Morgan, the daughter, in 1996, the year of their marriage, Dina Clint, and they were frequently spotted together at interviews and at events, and she even appeared in a brief reality show. Regarding the Eastwood household, known as Mrs. However, by 2013, Eastwood and company had, after they split up, their divorce was completed in 2014. In spite of these 2 formal unions and several long-term partnerships, Clint has consistently displayed some hesitancy to totally commit in the conventional sense. A few of his connections across overlapped, and some offspring were produced. Without the general public being aware of them at first, he didn't talk much about his personal life during interviews, and wished to maintain keeping those specifics out of the media over moment. It was evident that Clint appreciated his self-reliance and liberty, even in couples that are devoted. Clint has a lengthy romantic history. It is intricate and mysterious. Illustrates a man who was profoundly engaged with numerous ladies but found it difficult with the intention of getting married fully. And speaking of complex, let's examine Clint's family stories now, the 7 youngsters that the world is aware of, and how each has contributed to Clint's convoluted life, is fascinating. Clint Eastwood's family tree is more than just our renowned actor and director, but additionally, at least 7 children's father, from many connections all through. Clint maintained his life for many years, incredibly confidential information regarding his family. However, as time went on, more details became, his kids have followed the public several routes, some of which lead to fame and others into more personal lives. It is evident that Clint's function as a father has as many facets as the jobs. Clint is the character he portrays on cinema. She was Eastwood's eldest known child, born in 1964, while he was having an affair with actress and dancer Roxanne Tunis Clintmet during the time of filming Rawhide. Clint remained wed to his first wife, Kimber's and Maggie Johnson's wives, for many years. Existence was kept under wraps. The public was unaware of her. Kimber has worked in the field since the 1980s. Entertainment sector, but primarily behind She works as a makeup artist in the sequences and producer, as well as having appeared in a handful little roles. Despite her closeness was not well known when she was with Clint. When they were little, they seemed to have a Kyle's second tight bond today is Clint's, his first kid with Maggie Johnson in 1968. Clint's first wife was born, and has established a prosperous career. Kyle is a jazz performer and composer who composes and plays bass. Actually, he has contributed to the music scores for a few of Clint's films such as Grand Canyon and Mystic River Torino. Kyle favors a more subdued public setting, life, and has largely avoided instead. Hollywood's attention is focused. Clint's music has demonstrated a strong assistance for Kyle's career frequently, going to his shows and encompassing him in his motion picture endeavors. Allison was born in Clint and Maggie Johnson's 1972 second child. She had in her father's path and went on to pursue a profession. She started out in performing and filmmaking, performing at an early age, and made appearances in a number of Clint's flicks, including Absolute Power and Tightrope as an Allison, an adult, has additionally worked as one of her greatest producers and directors. The well-known project director is the 2007, alongside her. The drama rails and ties Allison's involvement with the film industry Animal Shelter and operates a charity that Clint and Allison assist animals in need. Maintain a friendly and open relationship, frequently making public appearances together, events, and movies premieres Scotland in 1986. Eastwood was born to Clint and Clint, a flight attendant. Jazzaline Reeves being romantically involved with in the 1980s. Scott is quite likely the most well-known of Clint's kids. He looks really similar to his father and has sought a. His acting career includes roles in films like Suicide and The Longest Ride, Pacific Rim and Squad, Uprising. Scott has freely discussed growing up with as a father. Clint stated that Clint was rigorous and demanded that he put in a lot of work, has added that he had to try out for roles similar to those of anybody other, even in their relationship appears throughout Clint's films. Robust, and Scott frequently commends his Catherine, the father in The Interviews. Was born in Scott's younger sister is similar like her in 1988. She was born to Clint's sibling. The connection to Jazzaline Reeves' Catherine has remained relatively quiet. Compared to her brother, she has experience as a writer and actress in a few short films, but doesn't spend as much time in the spotlight. Less is known about her personal life or connection to Clint, yet she's participated in family-related events demonstrating her connection to them. In 1993, Francesca was born to Clint and Frances. Pfizer, an actress, met her parents whilst Pink Cadillac was being filmed, as well as collaborated to create Unforgiven. Francesca has been involved in the entertainment industry, business as a model, actress, and she became well known as a TV personality when she had an appearance in the reality TV program Mrs. and Company, and has participated in. Francesca appears in a number of independent films. Clint's offspring, who are more widely visible, frequently showing out on the red carpet with him. Circumstances. Their friendship appears to be strong, and she regularly posts images of them. Morgan is collaborating on social media. She was Clint's youngest known kid. Born to Clint and Dina Ruiz in 1996, was Clint's second news anchor. Morgan, the wife, was a member of the family's reality program while still a teenager, but has maintained less well-known in recent years. She has indicated a desire to act in guiding, but appears to be investigating her. Clint is supposed to choose a more secluded route, having a close and loving friendship with Morgan, and she's frequently spotted helping him out at movie events. Clint, the kids at Eastwood, are a varied bunch, each making their own way in life, some in the attention of people away from it. Although Clint is a private person, he has remained in contact with his children, silently assisting them, especially in recent years becoming more forthcoming with his substantial and distinct family, yet as unexpected as this family tale might even out. More intriguing, because for years there was one child about whom nobody has any knowledge. For many years, there were rumors and whispers, were gentle rumors and whispers, on Clint Eastwood's potential more kids than he openly had recognized. That these rumors were circulating through fan speculation in tabloid articles, and those in Hollywood gossip circles who paid great attention to Clint's life. Timeline discrepancies and gaps in accounts of his private life. Some even asserted that a mystery existed, child he had never brought up in public. These concepts weren't given much weight. Clint Eastwood has initially always been renowned for being a very private individual, particularly with regard to his family. He hardly discussed his personal children or relationships in the interviews. Even after a few of his established children were created, they were excluded from the years in the public spotlight. Thus, the notion that there may be an additional child who didn't appear to have been disclosed. Some journalists and fans find it unrealistic. The fact that added to the intrigue was Hollywood, particularly in the middle of century, was quite adept in maintaining studio execs' secrets throughout that time, worked diligently to preserve public perceptions of their celebrities. If a performer had a relationship or a potentially harmful child, their career or reputation, it was frequently secrets were concealed, and information was strictly regulated. Clint's professional life started in the 1950s when there was still a strong culture of quiet. At the period, well-known people were intended to seem flawless and intimate. Details were meticulously handled behind scenes. As a result of this, the notion of Clint didn't have a secret daughter appear inconceivable. It actually matched the manner in which Hollywood functioned during his nature's calm and restrained nature, only served to the rumors. For decades, nobody was able to determine with certainty if the rumors were true, but there was always a chance. Clint's time spent with someone unknown, or each time a fresh detail. People were curious in his past when it was revealed. If the story had greater depth, then eventually the unidentified child emerged. Of the darkness and altered Eastwood enduring family tale, the finding of for decades, Lori Murray has been lived a tranquil life without any knowledge of that she was associated with one of Hollywood's most well-known guys. Were born in early in the 1950s and was adopted as a baby. Lori was raised in a lovely adoptive family. She had family in the Pacific Northwest. Unable to identify her birth parents, as she grew older, she felt the want to recognize her origins and started to become more resilient. Like many adopted kids, she felt compelled to look for her. Lori's heritage led her on a journey to discover her biological history. Wasn't a simple or quick procedure that required years of investigation, sifting through adoption documents, and ultimately using. She looked at contemporary instruments like DNA testing, into documents, contacted organizations, and collaborated with the genealogical services. Finding out who she really was the easy aim. Her parents were aware of her background. As access to DNA testing increased and precise, Lori chose to accept the procedure for sending in a DNA sample via a service that facilitates communication between family members. It was a choice that would alter her life entirely. When the findings were returned, they showed anything she didn't anticipate being straightforward. First matched the Eastwood family. It might have been difficult to accept, but as it became evident as more details lined up, that the one who had unintentionally, the news was that Clint Eastwood was her father, was unexpected not just for Lori but Clint himself as well. According to claims that Clint was unaware that Lori had been born to a lady as her biological mother. Clint had dated for a short time, prior to his Hollywood stardom, had gotten pregnant early in the 1950s. She was young and single at the time, and her relatives allegedly made the decision that adoption would be considered for the child, without informing Clint that it was different or a one. When choices such as these were frequently decided in private without involving the Lori's biological mother, whose father name hasn't been shared much in. The public subsequently had a family of her own, but her child's tale with Clint was buried and kept secret for years. Previously, there has been no proof that did she ever disclose the pregnancy to Clint. Clint consequently lived his life, totally oblivious to the fact that he had a daughter out there. At the moment when Lori discovered the truth, she went to the situation with caution. She contacted Clint via the appropriate channels, and what followed was unexpected. Clint did not turn her away, accepted her as a close source in his life. He was kind, according to the family, and embracing her as he found out about her. Clint didn't make a public statement. However, many close to him have stated that he was grateful for the opportunity to have known her since Lori's discovery has become a member of the Eastwood family. She's been to events and even attended the premieres of Clint's films and family get-togethers. She leads a peaceful existence and has never attempted to exploit her affiliation with Clint for publicity or interest. From every account she owns, dealt with the revelation of her well-known The narrative of the father with dignity and privacy of Lori Murray is noteworthy, not just due to the fact that her father ended up but because of how it transpired, demonstrates the depth of familial secrets, hidden, and how contemporary instruments such as DNA testing can reveal the facts. Even after several decades, blending in with when the world discovered the Eastwood family that Clint Eastwood was hiding something, it garnered media attention, daughter. But what? What came next was equally unexpected, as rather than rejecting the discovery itself or remaining silent, Clint decided to embrace his daughter, Lori Murray. I had no idea he had made this choice. Not only had an impact on his private life, but it also altered the public's perception of him, added a new Eastwood chapter. Family tale, and provided visitors with a more profound, more personal perspective on the Hollywood icon. Upon confirmation from the DNA results that Lori's biological father was Clint, gradually integrated into the Eastwood, she wasn't hurried into the family circle, spotlight, and there was no dramatic official declaration. However, it appears that occurred organically when Clint was brought Lori to the other family members, and she was accepted without incident. On a number of family sources and reports stated that the other kids of Clint were tolerant of her, and there were no significant issues or negative reaction among the family. That only speaks volumes given how intricate Lori, family dynamics can change over time, began making more public appearances with one of the most talked about topics is family. In 2018, she had the opportunity to attend Clint's debut in the movie The Mule, directed and starred in. She walked on the red carpet with Clint and his other children, who are obviously acknowledged as a member of the media and many fans' relatives outlets. This served as proof that Lori had been genuinely welcomed and that Clint felt at ease with her at his side. Reaction of the public in front of the cameras. People's reactions to the news were generally favorable, liked Clint's handling of the matter. No effort was made to avoid accountability or conceal the truth. Many commended him for letting his heart expand and simultaneously being kind to Lori. The narrative also brought fresh focus on Clint's complex history, his numerous relationships from his past children who are not acknowledged, and the private characteristics of his private life. Although some critics questioned how something like it might remain hidden for a very long time, most people paid attention to Clint's response. In the current finding of Lori, Clint Eastwood was not harmed by Murray's reputation, brought depth. In a lot of ways, people saw a different side of him because of that. One that wasn't solely about being harsh roles or critically acclaimed films. They witnessed a father discovering something unexpected, aging, and creating space for that truth. It served as a reminder that even well-known people face personal struggles, as well as how they react to those difficulties, reveal a lot about their Clint's character, who is currently in his 90s. A new phase in his life offered a startling, yet significant relationship. And for Lori, it gave her the answers she had been seeking for years. Seeking, in addition to a feeling of a sense of belonging she might not have anticipated. If you want to hear more because you liked this story, Hollywood's more unexpected pasts, make sure you like and subscribe to this video channel and press the alert button so that you don't miss the following step.